Picture this, you haven't played Skyblock in months because of school. You decide to hop on, you get on, and you try to do /H to check your auctions. Then you realize you need a cookie. So you head to the bazaar and you go to buy one. But then you find out it's 6.8 mil for a cookie. What happened? This is what happened to me, and I'll be doing my best to explain why booster cookies are so expensive, how we can fix it, and why it's a problem. If 100k subs before May, I'll dye my hair. That's it. Let's get into the video. So first of all, the obvious reason that this is happening is due to something known as inflation. If you somehow don't know what inflation is, basically inflation occurs when money is injected into the economy. The only way for money to really be injected into the economy is if it comes from thin air. So stuff like selling stuff to NPCs actually puts money into the economy. But selling something to someone on the AH doesn't really inject money into the economy, simply because it's just the transferring of money from players on other sides of the game. On the complete opposite of inflation is deflation. And the way deflation occurs is by removing money from the economy. And this is just the complete opposite of inflation by deleting money into thin air. And the way this is done is through things like dungeons and the dark auction. Because when you buy items in these places, the money doesn't go to any player, so it's just removed from the circulating economy. So it means the total amount of money in the game becomes less and the price or value of each coin increases. So now that you know what inflation and deflation is, why is it so prevalent right now in Skyblock? Well, the obvious answer is due to the garden update. The garden update made farming way more valuable than it ever was, and because people are farming more, they're generating more money into the economy. One of the ways that they actually made it more viable was through increasing the price of crops, and this is literally the definition of inflation. Because for the same amount of work as it took, let's say a year ago, you're getting way more money. So of course prices are gonna go up. At first you might be mad at the devs, cause why would they just increase inflation by so much just for fun? But if you think about it, it actually makes quite a lot of sense. Ever since the mining update came out, it's just been astronomically clear of every other money making method. So basically you could not do any other money making method if you wanted to be at full efficiency. So to make it fair, they had to buff farming because it was way worse. And if you guys were playing at the time of the Crystal Hollows update, you would know that the cookie underwent the exact same thing when the price kinda shot up from around 2 mil to 3 mil. You might think that the problem that was happening with the mining update and the problem happening with the garden update right now are basically the same, but I actually have something to prove that the one that's happening right now is actually a lot worse. So I've been saying all this bad stuff about inflation, but even in real world economies, inflation has to happen. It's just how the economy works, but you just don't want it to happen too fast or too much. One of these good things about inflation is that it happens to every item in the game. So if one item is becoming more expensive, then another item should also become more expensive at the same ratio. This is important to us because with cookies you get bits, and with these bits you can buy items from the bit shop. And one of the easiest ways to be able to always have a cookie was to take your bits, buy stuff from the bit shop, and then use it to buy another cookie. This is perfect for us because it actually allows us to see if inflation was really the only issue or if there was something else. The way we would do this is pretty simple. First we would check the price of a cookie and a god potion, let's say 2 years ago. Then we will see how many god potions we would have to sell to get a cookie. Then if we do this same thing right now, assuming that inflation is the only culprit for the increasing price, the amount of god potions I would need to sell should be exactly the same, because the price of both items would have increased by the same amount. So I went ahead and did the calculations, and 2 years ago to the day, you would need 4.33 god potions if you wanted to afford a second cookie. Now though, you would need 5.66 god potions sold to actually afford another cookie. Basically meaning that inflation wasn't the only thing at play here. So there's basically only two things that really could have happened here. something happened to the supply and demand of god potions, or something happened to the supply or demand of cookies. Okay, let's first look at god potions. If you think about it, there's nothing that would have really changed the demand or supply of god potions. God potions are basically getting the same supply because people are always having cookies even if the price is higher. And god potions are always about the same effectiveness. I don't really ever think there's a surge in popularity for a god potion. So I think those are definitely not the problem. So then let's move on to booster cookies. Could the demand of booster cookies changed? Well, I don't really think so. Cookies are basically always used and someone always wants one. So I don't really think there would ever be a surge of people wanting booster cookies. So that only leaves us with one option, and that's with the supply of booster cookies changing. So let's think about it. The only way for booster cookies to be added to the economy is if people buy them with gems. So do you think that there was an increase in people spending money on Skyblock? I very much doubt so. So it's more likely that there was a downturn of people buying cookies. And this is a perfect explanation for why the price is so high. If people are buying less cookies, then there are less cookies in the entire game. And because of this, the price is going to increase for each single cookie. The reason this issue is so big with cookies is because cookies are consumable. And with consumables, once you eat them, they're gone and they're removed from the economy. So even if someone splurges a ton of money onto cookies, if a lot of people or just one person, let's say, eats all those cookies, they're gone from the game and can never be back into the economy. So what you've basically been waiting for this entire video, what is the solution to this? Well, the short answer, we just need people to start buying more cookies. With a lot of people in school right now and people just playing Minecraft less, there is a lot less money being spent on cookies than before. And even when people do buy bits, they tend to save it and wait for fire sales because they make way more money selling skins than selling an actual cookie. So people tend to just not buy cookies even when they do buy gems. Now for solutions, there's really only 3 different options. The first one, as I covered earlier, is just get more people to buy cookies. If there's more cookies, then the price will fall and we can get it at a normal rate. But that's probably not going to happen. So instead, what can the devs do? So first of all, maybe they can add a way to get cookies without gems. I don't know if they're going to do this, I very much doubt it. But if there was a way to, let's say, get just a few cookies without needing gems, it could drastically bring down the price to something more fair. I still think that it's pretty unrealistic to happen, but something that could actually work is make it cheaper to buy cookies with gems. Because if people are able to buy more cookies with less gems, then they're going to be using it instead of fire sales, and they're going to be getting more cookies into the economy and then bringing down the price to something more reasonable. Or in the end, what's probably going to happen is nothing, and we're just going to have to settle and work on this price for the rest of the game. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like the price of cookies should be at least low enough that a player like me, who's been playing for 3 years, can use their cookie and still get enough bits to at least afford a second cookie by just selling the items. But as it stands now, that's not the case, but we'll see how it changes. See you guys in the next one. Later!